Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to be bringing you a very different video. In fact, this is going to be the first video I've actually done of this type on the channel. I usually go over VOD reviews on my stream, but today I'm going to be doing one different. I'm actually going to be going over the recent Yorick top game by Wunder in the recent G2 versus Damwon Gaming for the World Championships. It was exciting to see Yorick picked. I'm not surprised he got picked. I'm going to sift and sort through different parts of this game where I actually think are necessary to bring up. First off, I'll start off with a champion select. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that Yorick was actually picked in this game. Yorick does really well against champions that are lane harassers, lane bullies. As contrary to what people would actually think, Yorick does really good against champions that poke. So anything that would normally take control, something like a Karma top, something like a Vayne top, something like Pantheon's old Pantheon, I'm not really sure about the new one, and even Jace. These champions that like to zone you out pre-6 get a lane advantage. Yorick does really well against them because eventually, once you level 6, Yorick actually gets strong enough to deal with them. So it really does not surprise me one bit that Yorick was picked here. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because in terms of starting items, I think he was absolutely fine. Only thing about Doran's shield is that it's a little on the weaker side. It is getting buffed on PBE, so this start will be a lot better when it hits live. I don't think corrupting in this match would have been worth it, just because corrupting potion is when you generally want to trade. Yorick isn't going to trade with Jace. Range versus melee, you're not going to trade against them. Instead, you're just going to take aggro and poke. In terms of laning matchup, we don't really get to see a lot. Jace just shoves Yorick under the tower. You can see the small CS leads start to accrue over time, and that's normal because it is a range versus melee matchup. It's mainly once Yorick hits the level 6 that really matters. So you'll see his runes choice. He actually went for the grasp and the inspiration. Now, whenever you pick runes on Yorick, if it's going to be a harassing lane, you always want to go for that inspiration secondary. Just because free biscuits are extremely good and Time Warp Tonic is extremely valuable as well. You don't want to miss out on either of those two. If it's going to be a comfortable lane, you can start to look into things like Resolve plus Precision if you like. But all in all, I definitely understand why he went Grasp. He might not be able to stack it early, but it benefits him later. Especially in a competitive environment, he gets to use Demolish really well. But he also has access to things like the bone plating and the second wind if he likes them. So, like I said, in this early game, he's just going to get beaten up a little bit, and it's completely expected. We'll fast forward a little bit. You can see the CS lead's pretty much even, but it's about to crash into Jace's tower, so he's going to start getting a really nice CS advantage. You can see right there, it's already back to about 7 or 8 like it was before. So I'll skip forward. I have a few notes here that I'm going to go towards. First one usually sits at about 9 minutes, but I will stop around here just to showcase his item build. So you can see he went for that Ninja Tabby first. That's pretty much as I expected against range attack damage matchups. Ninja Tabby is by far the best item you can get to actually stay healthy in lane. The only item I can think of that might have helped him even more, actually, to be honest, I can't think of anything. Maybe extra cloth armors early, but he's gone the perfect matchup here, perfect item build here. He could have maybe gone into a corrupting potion if he had some extra gold. It doesn't cost that much to upgrade it from the refillable into the corrupting, but I definitely don't disagree with his item build here. You can see Jace gets priority by being able to push and leave. Yorick's just hit level 6 and 7, so now is the time for him to do something. So the first thing I'll probably bring up is that you can see Yorick hasn't casted his ultimate. Now, in pro play, I can understand this. I can definitely understand him not casting his ultimate early in the lane, just because it is punishable. This gank here is actually the first point I had written down. Now, I was actually surprised this gank worked, because realistically, it shouldn't have actually worked against Yorick. This is actually a very expected gank, and I'll show you what the reasons behind why it was so expected. Personally, I think he played it a bit terribly there. It was definitely a lot easier to play. He's lucky that his team was able to compensate for him there. But Lee Sin, you can see it's 8 minutes 30 in. Lee Sin's pathing to the top lane, and he's going to sit in the bush. Now, if I pause it right here, you can see that if you look at the mini-map, it's 8 minutes 40. let's go back and consider, where did Lee Sin start? Now, we might not have actually had vision on Lee Sin level 1, and for the blue team at least, but you can see that he started blue. Now, whenever you see someone start blue as a jungler, you should always assume 2 things. The first is that they start bottom side jungle and they eventually pass the top side jungle. Now, if during their first clear, the first 3 minutes of the game, you know they're going to start in the bottom side. Actually, I've got my rift kit open here so I can show you what I mean. So if you see someone start at the blue side at level 1, you know that they're eventually going to pass to the top side jungle. So within the time of 1 minute to 3 minutes, well, that's supposed to be a 3, you know that at the 3 minute mark, they're going to be in the top side. Similarly, you know that the first buff respawns about 6 minutes 50, right? So the first buff is going to respawn around here. So you can put the exact same logic into it. If he was here, by all means, you can assume he's going to be there at 650. Then around about 8 minutes, you know he's going to be in the top half. So Yorick should have easily seen this gank coming, because you know for sure that the jungle is going to be in the top half around that time of the game. So if I scroll forward again for it, you'll see that like this gank should have been quite easy to see coming. Let's have a look. So you can see 8 minutes, Lee's getting his red buff. Now there's a big actual like notification of where Lee's going, and it's right there on the map. You can see the little yellow indicator saying his blue buff has spawned. His red buff is about to spawn. Now that should tell you that Lee Sin's going to be in the top half. Now I'm not sure why the Yorick didn't react to that. There was no reason to believe he was bottom half anyway. So it's a bit of a funny one, but I can see why. Like, I don't know. I just think it was a misplay and a half. It was also a misplay to cast his ult so late. Also to save his flash so late. I mean, you saw the Lee Sin Q connect. The second the Lee Q connected, he should have flashed it. Ult should have also come out straight away if he was going to cast it. That is like literally the worst feeling in the world when you've casted your ult and you die straight after. It just puts it on such a long cooldown. But anyway, we'll scroll forward a little bit. Now, the second thing I'm going to question here is the Yorick's items, right? So the Yorick's item choices. I always tell people, if you're looking to buy items and you don't have a lot of gold to deal with, you should never ever build your mana crystal when it's only the mana crystal. Personally, if it were me, I'm not sure if other people will disagree with this, and if you do, feel free. But mana crystal isn't combat stats. There's no reason to go for a mana crystal. He has biscuit delivery, which means he has an extra 200 or so mana anyway. There's no reason to believe he would need the mana crystal for mana use. Only reason he's getting it is for the purpose of getting Sheen quicker. Personally, I think he should have gone for the dagger instead, or even a cloth armor, or something else other than the mana crystal, because it's not combat stats. But the next time he actually goes for a recall, he's going to have enough money to buy Sheen outright anyway. So if his goal is to get the Sheen, then he might as well wait and get another combat stat item and then sell the refillable potion. Or when he upgrades this phage, it's going to have an item slot anyway. So I definitely don't agree with the mana crystal as an earlier purchase. I think it should have waited. Anyway, we'll go forward a little bit. Actually, that was a nice replay. Let me have a look. Like, it's a good play by Lee Sin, but you would have expected it to happen, I would have thought. Maybe he got confident because he knew his teammates were going up. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, like I said, very lucky his team were able to assist him there. So we'll keep going. It's a pretty much stalemate of a top lane here. You can see the CS leaders there. It's expected. So there you go. You can see. So he buys the phage outright. Okay, so he upgrades his phage first. So his phage was obviously his priority anyway. So again, I don't see the purpose of this mana crystal. It might as well have been a cloth armor. It makes absolutely no sense for it to be a mana crystal. Anyway, I'm going to drop that. So you can see that the AD and the support go into the top half. So this is a very common thing in pro play. At around 10 minutes in, the support and AD go top, or usually it's the support that goes top. Just because you want that Rift Herald early. If you can get it early, you get plates very early. So Yorick goes bot as a result, okay? Now, if Yorick's going bot, that's fine. Biggest thing to note is once Yorick leaves the top lane, it then puts him on the hunt for using his teleport, okay? Now, I'm very much against using teleport early. And you'll see situations like this happen in pro play where they engage on the Rift Herald, and there's going to be Yorick teleport sometime soon. Or at least you would think that Yorick's going to teleport sometime soon. Doesn't look like he does here, so that's normal. Very late teleport. See, that the first problem, actually first like proper misplay, is this teleport really should have been earlier. I don't know what took him so long to press that teleport button. They could have easily contested this if he was going to go for it here. It's kind of like catch-22, where he has to either go for the tower hard. Bear in mind, they do have a mountain dragon. Like, the one thing I didn't understand about this game, watching it live and watching it back, is I don't think they understood how strong Yorick is with mountain dragons. Like, he had one at this stage. He actually had two later. And they still didn't understand how strong he was with mountain dragons. He could have easily, if you look at the minimap right now, he could have had both turrets here. Because Jace wouldn't have been able to leave combat with the entire G2 squad right there. They would have just disrupted his teleport if they had to. He would have easily had both bottom towers there. But if he wanted to fight it, there's a ward right here that he can fight, that he can teleport to. So there was no reason to let him get this dragon. This Rift Herald, sorry. So the other thing I'll point out as well is that a biggest thing I learned from watching this game in terms of G2's flaws, or as more specifically in terms of Wunder's flaws, is dude doesn't know how to release the maiden. Like, it's crazy. He does not release it once. It's so strong and it bugs me. It absolutely bugs the hell out of me. So he could have easily, it's uncharacteristic to release maiden pre-level 12 or pre-level 11. But he could have easily done it here with a mountain dragon if he wanted to. It's not ideal, but it is an option. Because if you actually watch this play out, I want you to keep a close eye. And for the rest of this game, I want you to watch in particular, what does Yorick's maiden actually do in these fights? Just watch it. Watch how useless it is. It's literally the most useless thing in the world. Like, you just watch it and he doesn't even use it. Like, she just runs behind him. Everything he does in these fights is without the maiden. Entirely without the maiden. And 90% of the time, he's sacrificing her for no reason at all. So she could have easily just been bot there, got the bot tower out of it. And look, the maiden's dead again. I mean, like, a lot of the times, people overvalue the maiden. And this is a perfect example of a game and a player that overvalues his maiden in a team fight because he thinks he needs it. But in reality, you really don't need her that much. She's much better off splitting. We'll keep going. So the next one I have is at 17 minutes. So it's quite a while away. So I had one here. This one here is, I'm questioning Naguri here. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Why didn't he just flash outright blows my mind. This is a good play by G2 anyway. A nice catch, a nice flash by Wunder as well. All in all, it was a really good play, but it was just really questionable what Naguri was doing. He could have avoided all that entirely. So yeah, bad play by Naguri, but good play by the rest of the team. I had at 17 minutes. So this is where it starts to get to the crux of the big issues for me. Right, so this right here is a perfect play by Yorick. This is why you pick Yorick. Look at his tower damage. Like, he doesn't even have Trinity Force yet, and he's still just slaughtering through these towers. Right, he's a real threat right now. Watching the minimap, you can see the red team. They're actually worried. They're sending 2 people for him right now because they're not sure if he's going to keep pressing. And then on the other side of the map, guess what? Their team gets caught, but they can't react because the Gragas has then been moved up to the top lane to deal with the Yorick split. This is entirely why you pick Yorick in competitive. It's just a little bit harder to make him work if you don't have a winning team. Yorick is a very win-more champion. People need to understand that he's not going to win every game. He's not supposed to win every game because he mainly wins games when his team's already ahead. He punishes leads really badly. Like, he's really, really good at punishing leads. So around about this time here, I have it at 18 minutes 40. This right here is where I would pause it. And I would say right here, if you look at Yorick's level 12, remember I mentioned earlier, as soon as you hit level 12, you can start looking at sending main to the side lanes. This is his moment. Right now, I would personally start looking to send the maiden bot Yorick group with his team. There's no reason Yorick needs to side lane anymore. He has a mountain dragon. He is much better off in a team fight than he is splitting right now. Because if he can drag Jace's attention away from the team fights, if he sends his ult bot, his ult right now, if you look at the location of the bot waves, they would meet pretty much right in the middle. Yorick's maiden would cause it to push up a bit further. And then there would be a real threat under that tier 2 bottom tower, right? So Jace would have to go deal with that. In the meantime, if Jace deals with that, Yorick forces the team fight, forces the Baron when it spawns, whatever, it doesn't matter. The main thing is Yorick doesn't need to be bot to be able to get CS, get experience, and create pressure. He just needs to be in the team fights. Maiden will do the rest for him. This is why I'm saying one of the biggest mistakes people make in high elo now is they're not taking advantage of this. It's insane. So you can see, I'll skip forward a little bit more. So right here, this right here is the perfect position. Like, you look at the minimap right now. Yorick is pushing. The team is grouping mid. The Baron's about to spawn. The best call right now is to release the maiden and to run mid. Or release the maiden and teleport mid. You don't need to be bot. There is no reason for him to be bot right now. I would wager there's a cannon minion in that bottom wave that will get that tier 2 tower. The most important thing right now is to find a way to A, push the bottom wave, and B, find a way to make sure your team doesn't lose the 4v5 if you're not at the fight. The best way to do it is to release the maiden, that accomplishes pushing the bottom wave, and number 2, it accomplishes making sure your team doesn't lose the fight because it's a 5v5. It's not a 4v5 anymore. So you can see Yorick fights. I'm not sure what they're doing here. So you can see the top waves are pushing, blah, blah, blah. This is a very questionable play by DWG. I don't know why they went for a mountain dragon. Other thing... Oh, my light just went out. That's crazy. Other thing people need to realize is mountain dragons are what you should call win more dragons. They do not help you if you're losing. The best thing that a mountain dragon will do is they'll help you sneak a Baron. But in a competitive setting like this, there is no reason to prioritize a mountain dragon if you're already losing the game. The staving off the push, securing halting the pressure, making sure they don't break your base is by far the most important thing. That was just the most questionable play by DWG that I've ever seen. Very strange. So I have, even around here, Yorick goes back to base in a second. So you can see Yorick is he does. He goes back to base sometime soon. There we go. Okay, so you can see Yorick goes bot here. Right? He goes back to base. Right now, this is another one. He could just release the maiden in the bot lane. By the time maiden gets to that bottom wave, it's pushing to him. Ryze should not be going bot here. Maiden goes bot. Everyone groups around the Baron. Yorick runs through mid lane or runs to the Wolves, gets ghouls off that. Then they group around the Baron and they force the Baron fight. If they engage the Baron outright right now, Jace is forced to teleport. It blows my mind that no one actually goes into this kind of strategy, dude. Because it's so strong. We'll go down a bit more further here. So you can see Yorick gets into little fights. Maiden survives a little bit. He goes back to base to heal the Maiden. That's completely normal. Even again, right now, Maiden could go bot. Nothing stopping him from putting the Maiden bot here. He's in a nice position to do it. So he's going to be the second fight, right? Now, in this fight here, I just want to point out again, like before, what does the Maiden do? So you watch her. Watch what she does. Gets an auto off there. And she's dead. So she dies every fight at the start. So if you're against the maiden split push, I need to ask, what are you against about it? Because I don't see anything that having her grouped is actually accomplishing here. So you can see Yorick goes bot. They get another mountain. Double mountains for Yorick means that he can solo the Baron at any time. His build, he can easily do it. I really like his Titanic purchase as well. That is a really nice purchase. In my opinion right now, the best call is Yorick summons ult right away. On cooldown, he summons ult and he looks to release the maiden, okay? Looks to release the maiden in the bot lane and then they force the teleport onto the Baron, sorry. So they're not in the bot lane yet. He might as well have his ult out. Yeah, and then he moves around the map and tries to create the pressure that he's like trying to force someone to deal with his push. Look at his damage to tower, dude. Look at that damage. Like, I don't understand. Do they not understand what mountain dragons do when it comes to pushing? Like, it's not going to matter that much later when mountain dragons are reworked a little bit. This here was probably the most questionable play as well. I don't see why they opted to teleport Yorick into the fight. The correct way to do this play, assuming he summoned the maiden prior, would have been to walk back further. So if we go back to this, you can see Yorick is roughly about here. The correct play is to walk all the way back here, stand around about here, wait for the minion wave to go past, and then send the maiden down the lane before teleporting to the tower to the fight. If he did that, then Jace would have been forced to do two things. Jace either stayed to defend the push from the maiden, or he rotated over. If he rotates, maiden gets both of these, plus probably half of that. But if he stays, they lose Baron out of it. So like you can see the pros and cons out of this. It's actually pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I don't like the teleport in when he's got nothing to offer here. So you'll see, he flashes and puts his ult. Now, again, watch what his ult does in this fight. So you can see he's hard charging, pressing hard. He's going off at it. And Maiden's not hit a single thing yet, by the way. Here's the first fight. Maiden goes in. Maiden's done probably 2 autos. She's pretty much just getting kited. She's not really doing that much. And Maiden's dead again. So, I'd really love just a showcase to Wunder, like, how useless his ults are. I don't mean to put it bluntly, but it's just, there's just so much potential that they're just clearly not understanding and not seeing. Because that was, yeah, did not do anything there. Yeah, very strange one. But you can see they get the Baron anyway. So around about now is the perfect time to look for a game end. Now, when it comes to ending the game, Yorick's ult should go into a side lane again, and Yorick should group. It's all about splitting the team up, splitting up the pressure, and making the enemy falter. Like, making them worry, making them make impulse decisions. It's all about pressure. So you can see Yorick goes top with the maiden here. They send 2 top, okay? It's a 1-2-2 split push right about now. Okay, that could be a 1, 3, and 2 by having the maiden in the top lane and Yorick mid. Keeps the balance in mid lane even. Jace can't even deal with the maiden very easily because Yorick is level 16. Maiden has a stupid amount of base health level 16. He gets 4 ghouls every minion wave now because of his new passive. Jace got caught here for some reason. I'm not sure why. Very strange play by Jace. But either way, good on Wunder to pick Yorick. I'm really happy to see him played. I wish I'd see him a bit more played with a bit more map control. I feel like he's just a bit lackluster when people play him in competitive right now. I like the 10 comp they built around the Yorick though. It does make a lot of sense to pick something like the Rise because it does have that map rotation. They can help Yorick when need be. Yorick doesn't exactly have the best laning, but he is a bit more useful later on. But all in all, honestly, I think it was a solid game. It was just not exactly as I'd hoped. Hopefully, they start to use the main a bit better because it's just, yeah, it's not exactly the best usage of the maiden. And I feel like if you had tallied the amount of damage the maiden actually did to champions in this game, I think you'd be blown away by how low it was. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry it was a bit rushed, but I really, really wanted to get a video out about this because I feel like people don't understand the maiden split enough, and hopefully this is one way of helping people understand it a bit more. So yeah, thanks for watching, boys, and I'll catch you guys next time.